One area of photography that I have virtually no experience in is on the topic of off-camera flash. During today's interview, we're going to talk a lot about it. Hey everybody, welcome to photographytv.com. We're here to educate, entertain, and inspire you around photography. And today we are talking about lighting with who I consider an expert, a master of lighting, Francisco Hernandez from FJH Photography. Francisco, welcome to the show.
Hello, great to be on it.
All right, man, we're excited to have you. So, Francisco, start us off with your story, your background as a photographer, how you got started, how you've evolved, all that good stuff.
Well, I guess, it starts off traditional. I was in a yearbook club,
Okay.
and and they had cameras you can check out. I started taking pictures just for fun, random stuff, paper clips, the floor, the road, stuff like that.
Yep.
I didn't have any really an understanding of what I was doing. And then when I graduated from high school, I got a camera, and then I just started to document. I did it just to purely document. And then I had to get a camera, a DSLR with video capabilities. So I ended up getting the Canon 60D. Yeah, so that was like I would consider that my first real camera. So then after that, I just started to take a liking in photos with lighting, specifically photos with lighting, because I don't know, they just had a pop.
Okay.
That's the best way I could describe it. So then I was like, okay, I need lighting. So then I got some lighting, and then a whole bunch of trial and error, and a whole bunch of years later, I got to the point where I feel confident enough to that I can take images in my head,
Yeah.
before I even take any cameras or lighting out, and then it's all up here now. Like over time, it just became up here. So that's the good thing about that.
So you got into lighting early, it sounds like. That was kind of one of the main things you started working with?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I would say it's pretty early. And I'm if I had to go like a step further, I think it was too early. Like too early. Like I jumped. Like instead of like dipping my toes in the pool, I just jumped in.
Right.
So yeah, I actually got an Alien Bee kit. I think it was the Busy Bee kit that they actually still offer today. And I actually got a student discount because I was in school. But it was like, I think I ordered an Alien Bee ring flash. I actually still have it. Two Alien Bee 800s, a B 400, and yeah, that was the amount of lights that I had, and I thought I needed them all.
Okay.
But if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I'd be like, no, just use the one light, because I eventually started to love the look of just one light.
We're going to have a little bit of conversation around that of what would you go back and tell someone getting started. We'll kind of get your insight on that, so I'm looking forward to it. So now, did you go to school for photography, or how did you learn over time?
The best practice, I think anybody always, a lot of people will always say, is experience. While I was doing my basics, I forget what they're called, all the regular classes.
Yep.
That's where I took my interest in photography, and I just started practicing on my own. YouTube videos, Flern, that I learned a lot from Aaron Nace, that I want to meet him one day, and just online articles and a lot of patience, because I'm the type where I'm not patient. So I think I developed a good understanding of patience with my photography over time, because I would want to create these pictures, and then it just I learned little by little, but yeah, basically YouTube and online articles, those really helped me out. And actually, the group strobes.com helped me a lot, so much, because I'm more of a visual learner.
Yeah.
And I loved it when people described, and some people even had like behind the scenes. So that's what I favored those. I favored that group specifically.
Nice. And on that topic, I mean, good opportunity to bring up your YouTube channel, FJH Photography, in which you do a lot of the behind the scenes. You're kind of giving that visual experience. What inspired you to get started with that? And talk us through that a little bit.
Well, actually, there's another photographer, Manny Ortiz. I think he goes by Manuel Ortiz now, but he actually had a channel, and I saw that he was building it up, and I was like, this is this is something that I think would help a lot of people because, like I said, I'm a visual learner, so I
Right.
love to show people what I'm doing. So then I was like, okay, yeah, why am I not doing this? So I decided to do it myself, and I just really enjoyed doing it.
Well, good, man. Your YouTube channel is awesome. I definitely want to make sure we talked about that. All right, let's dive into lighting if we could. Let's talk about off-camera flash. That's obviously area of your expertise. For someone that hasn't gotten into it, talk us through why is off-camera flash important and really what value does that bring to your photography?
Well, I think it's a huge, huge difference. One of the things that I try to keep in mind when I was starting is I observed and observed so much in these photography groups that I was in, and I was seeing the struggles that other people had before I started to do these experience these struggles
Yeah.
because I would see these struggles that other people were having, and it made me like think, okay, maybe I don't want to do those things. And I would see with a lot of natural light photographers that they would cancel sessions, they would have a lot of trouble, when it comes to reception lighting at weddings. They would rely on just direct flash, and that's one thing I actually never really liked at all, direct flash. So that's
Right.
exactly why I wanted to get off. I wanted to take it off, and
I mean, certainly from my perspective, the shots that I see when off-camera flash is used, like they do stand out. They have a much higher level of professionalism to them. It's certainly a skill I'm interested. I have not taken it up in any way. Most of my photography is of my kids hanging out. Like I said, I'm more of a enthusiast than a professional, so I just have fun taking shots of the kids. But let's talk about how to get started. So if someone like myself or someone that is more natural light at this point, but recognizes they want to get into off-camera flash, how would you suggest they get started?
well, I would definitely suggest doing the opposite of what I
Okay.
did. I would recommend basically a speed light, pair of triggers, either a reflective umbrella or a shoot through umbrella. I
Yep.
would suggest the shoot through, just so you can see how you don't have control with it.
Okay.
And then yeah, just a light stand and a bracket to hold the light on the stand. But yeah, that's basically the best setup. I actually have on my blog post on my website. I actually have like a gear list, like an entry level gear, the
Yep.
best cheapest gear in my opinion of what to get so that you can learn the most and then eventually upgrade from that. So.
Yeah, perfect. Good. So start with the speed light, start with the umbrella, kind of get started with that. Talk to me about manual versus TTL. So at least
Yeah.
from my perspective, again, not having really any expertise at all in flash, I see it as TTL is auto and the manual obviously is manual. So is it critical to have TTL if you're going to be shooting a manual, or kind of take me through the thoughts on that?
I think in a situation where time is very much a factor, where you're very limited on time, TTO is a lifesaver. Like it purely is a lifesaver. There's some
Okay.
people who are like, oh well, it's a little off. Oh, it's a little off. It's a little too bright. It's a little too dark. The thing is with TTL, it'll give you a pretty good shot. Off right from the get go. If you're shooting manual, unless you have a very good understanding of light, then you're gonna have to take those test shots. Or if I would say that even if you don't have enough time to go out there and get the light meter and take a picture and stuff like that, I think TTL would just save you because you just literally put the light where you want it and just shoot. Whenever you have the time to shoot slow, which is kind of how I shoot so much, then manual is perfectly fine. I think TTL is just a lifesaver, specifically for people who shoot weddings. You just put the light where it where it goes, and just shoot.
That's
And
smart.
if you shoot raw, then if it's a little too dark, which I'm pretty sure it will never be like super three stops underexposed or anything,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you can just bump it up a little bit, and then you're perfect. If it's too bright, honestly, I don't think it would be too bright either. Just bring it down a little bit, and you're fine if you shoot raw.
That's
So
good. Oh yeah, absolutely. one of the things I see you do a lot with are the strobes. Like, at what point do you suggest someone moves from speedlight to strobe? But then also, like, what are the main advantages of doing that?
I think the best advantage is just the amount of power that you have, because with the amount of power that you have with the strobe just lets you create so much more photos. I actually, like, I think I keep referring to when I started, I had way too much.
Yeah.
Actually decided, let me go the exact opposite, and I'll go start with less. So then I actually started shooting with speedlights at one point, I think in 2014. So then what happened? Oh yeah, I did like one shoot with speedlights, and I realized, wow, you're so limited. Well, specifically for the shots that I wanted to take, I was severely limited. So
With the
yeah,
speedlight.
yeah, just in the amount of power.
Right.
It's kind of like controversial, but talking about the power of speedlights. But it's like one speedlight compared to a 600-watt strobe, which is the amount of power that I have on my strobe.
Yep.
It's like 1/10. So like just more power, more capabilities with the photos.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. So let's stick with, if I'm getting started, I got my speed light, I followed your advice, got started with that. Like, what are some tips you'd give me on things we'd want to learn first, what to be thinking about, all that good stuff?
I think one of the best tips that I can give is to decide what kind of photos you want to create, because for me, I wanted to create photos that I could get an even exposure throughout the entire image, and that led me to believe that I needed strobes because of the more power. So but some people are the exact opposite. They want just a little bit of flash to not be in shadow.
Yeah.
So then that's more of a natural looking shot. So I would suggest trying to figure out what kind of style you want to go for, and then that would allow you to figure out what kind of gear that you need. So yeah, I think that's the best type. Yeah, and also you want to make sure if you do as a natural light photographer, I would assume that maybe you like wide apertures. I think
Sure.
that tends to be more of the natural light look.
That's right.
So I would definitely suggest not getting a manual speed light that offers high speed sync, which is something that for example, if somebody didn't know exactly what that even meant, I would suggest it anyway, and then I would explain after.
Right.
But yeah.
I could totally see that, because otherwise I'm at least familiar enough. Without it, I'm limited to 1/250th of a second, and
Yeah.
you step outside and you're not going to be able to do that in a lot of cases. So it's good. All right, awesome. What are some mistakes that you see people making, whether they're using speed lights, whether they're using strobes? What are common mistakes that you see that people need to overcome to really get the look that they're going for?
I think the main thing that I'm seeing is that they're focusing less on the light, because I've seen very stylized shoots where people don't understand why they're getting the quality that they're getting, which is like lower than they want.
Yep.
So I think that they should pay attention to light first and foremost. I think when I started, I was fortunate enough to like have a soft box, because I just got it in the package.
Okay.
But I didn't understand the light. I didn't understand light really until like 2 years after I started with light. And I think once they understand light, like what makes it harsh, what makes it soft, then they can create more images to their liking. When I see people make mistakes now with the lighting, they're not as. It comes down to the basic fundamentals of light and how it acts basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I'll see in the groups or something, they're like, why is my light doing this?
Yeah.
My light doing this. I get messages so much every day, and sometimes it's because they didn't understand light. Sometimes they'll be like, why did I get this orange tint on my face? And it's because there was an orange wall to their side. and they didn't realize, oh yeah, it'll reflect onto me. Like right now, actually, if you pay attention to the colors on my skin, there's blue on my left side and there's orange on my right side. I did that intentionally, just to look cool. I have like this
Yeah,
little,
nice.
and then I have like a ring flash right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it would look cool.
The
That's
master of light. Even in Skype, you're making it happen.
yeah. Thank you.
That's fantastic. All right, so no, I love the idea of you got to understand light, right? Like it's almost like, again, I'm more of a natural light photographer. I just, so the key for me was understanding the exposure triangle, understanding how to work with that, and ultimately get the shot that I wanted. So, what are the fundamentals of light? Like if I wanted to get into off-camera flash and I wanted to understand what I could do to get what I need, like what are those fundamentals I should be focused on learning?
I would think it's just for people who shoot natural light. If they tend to think that on an overcast day that it's the best thing ever, and actually it's like the exact opposite for me because I love working in more ambient. I think trial and error is going to be the best teacher. I honestly think.
That's
So
good.
just getting your light out, start shooting with it.
Yep.
Actually see what the light's doing, and then go from there. I've seen people say like there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's so much misinformation out there that I actually believed, which is why when it led me to getting certain gear and certain objects that they're just sitting in my shelf now.
Okay.
But I think once you get that gear in your hand, even if you can borrow, let a friend know, hey, I know you have this gear. You mind if I can borrow it just to see exactly what it does? Just so you can do exactly that. You can see what it's doing. There's grids, there's reflective, umbrellas, shoot through umbrellas. There's so many modifiers out there. So I think I think experience is the best teacher above anything. So you want to get these items and just try them out yourself, and that'll give you the best understanding of what they're doing.
That's good. Yeah, I agree. Practice, 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 and through experience you learn for sure. Let me think. Anything you're working on, specific to off-camera flash that you're trying to develop yourself on?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. There's like a lot of people tend to know my work as with my 135 millimeter f2 lens. I think that's kind of my look right now, my style.
Okay.
I actually want to take a whole different look somehow with wide lenses, and I want to try to see how I can incorporate my style in that. It's something that I haven't been open about at all because I want to like
master it first.
I want to master it first,
Sure.
and then unleash it upon the world, and then people see it, and then they somehow still see my signature look, but in an entirely different way. So that's something I'm excited about, and I'm working on right now.
New tutorials you've got coming up. What are some of the things you're trying to get out there?
I have like a long list of YouTube videos that I want to put out there.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot easier said than done. So that's why.
Trust me, I understand.
Sometimes I have an idea in the shower and I'm like, oh, okay, and my mind kind of like wanders a lot. That's just the type of person I am.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, I need to keep saying this in my head, so I'll write it down after I'm done. And then so basically I have a list right now of videos that I mean to put out, but I'm also the type of person who wants to put out quality stuff. So I want to take my time with them and make them look good on camera. And I'm also getting more ideas from friends about how to improve my videos. So that's gonna come. One thing that I did want to put in like maybe my next my next 2 videos at least is because the videos that I've been doing right now, they're kind of just I'm in this area and then I take the shot. Right. I want to show people okay, this is why I chose that spot. This is what I saw.
Totally.
The composition that came together in my head as I saw it. And my friend Eli actually gave me that idea. He says, there's not a lot of videos out there of why they chose this spot. It's just them in that location and they shot. So I wanted to provide that in the video. I think it would help. It's not even that long. It would just be like 10 seconds.
That's right.
Area, and it made me think this. I am planning some workshops for next year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
I get asked all the time, but I honestly want to, like I said, put out the best type of workshop, the funnest type of workshop in an awesome environment. So I want to make sure, I get it down, to a key, at least with plan A, B, C, and D. I'm that type of person so that I can make it the best experience for everybody.
Good, man. Any other topics, cool stuff that we could be talking about as relates to lighting that I might not even know to ask?
I think I think it's a question that you asked, but I think it does need reiterating. Is just finding out photos that you want to take,
Okay.
uh, and and that would really let you know what gear that you need because yeah, that's something that I was wondering about a lot when I started. I was like, why aren't my photos looking like this? And that led me to the point where I am now.
Yeah.
Back then I just threw light everywhere. I honestly did. I thought that's what I needed to do. So I think my very first behind the scenes shot, my very first one, um, it's a beauty dish, a softbox, and an octabox, I think, or an umbrella or something like that. But and if I could go back, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, you don't need all this lighting. But yeah, I think another thing that people should, learn about is the inverse square law when it comes
Okay.
to lighting. It helps a lot. I'm very much a non-traditional photographer. I don't go by ratios, numbers, and stuff like that. But it does help to just know that, when the light is far, what it's doing, and when it's close, what it's doing. So
Gotcha.
sometimes people need to understand that where you move the light it matters because there's some people sometimes people move the light 3 feet away because they just don't know and they're like, oh, I want it to look a certain way, but they're contradicting themselves and they don't know it.
Okay.
So I've seen people do that, early in their lighting journey, and then they learn afterwards, oh, I should have done this. I should have at least learned, what the light was doing, how it acts at a distance. So I think sometimes when people learn about inverse square law, before they learn about inverse square law, they don't realize that the light, it does matter in the space that it's in. You know, it'll dissipate in the air. I try to tell people that light acts like water.
Oh, that's
Um,
good.
yeah, that helped me a lot actually when I learned about it, and I actually describe it to people who are not into photography at all as water. Sometimes people will ask me, why is the light pointed up, and stuff like that. I tend to bounce my light, my speed light at events because if they have a white ceiling, then the light will bounce up. It'll hit the whole ceiling and it'll act like a huge soft box and give a nice soft light throughout the scene. So then I tell people, okay, well, act like my speed light is like my light, because they don't know what speed lights are. Act like my light is water and I'm just spraying it and it's hitting everything and it's dripping out everywhere. That's basically what it's doing. It's landing on everything and giving a nice even light everywhere. So it always goes back to understanding what light is doing. That
Yeah.
that's how I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So that way, the more you understand, how is that light slash water going to react based on where you move things, how you set up, how much power you send with it, all of that. Understanding the light and the impact it'll have is ultimately what the key is.
Mhm. Mhm. I think before I forget, um, uh, sometimes people, well, a lot of photographers they know that with white that light will reflect and black will absorb. Um, but a lot of people tend to they think that that means that you can't bounce off of black. And actually, this is something that I learned in a photo group. There was this guy who was posting these amazing nightlife photos in clubs, and everybody just in that group just wondered how the heck he was getting this kind of this lighting because it looks so like if he had like a softbox right next to them, and it was stumping everybody. It literally was, and it was. I'm a very very curious person,
Yeah.
so I like followed that guy like so bad, and I was like, what, I was looking forward to his posts, and then eventually he let it slip that he was bouncing bouncing his speedlight, his Canon 600 EX speedlight off of the roof of the club, which wasn't too far, but it was black. And
Yeah.
that confused a lot of people because they just assumed that you can't bounce off of black. The thing is, black does absorb a lot of the light, but it will bounce some. So he was using settings that were not ideal, which was like a high ISO, but because of the settings he was using, he was able to register some of that light onto the person's face and get this awesome look that everybody didn't even realize. Oh, okay, yeah, that does make sense
Nice.
after the fact. Yeah, that's something that stuck with me for a while because I was like, oh yeah, that is true. Black does absorb, but it also does reflect a little bit. So
That's nice. I love the fact that you see the shot too that you're interested in, and just the type of personality you have. Just you're intrigued by it, and it just shows why you can learn and obviously become, the
yeah,
expert that you are. And I think that's key. Is always be learning, always be practicing, and the experience will come. I think that's a good place to stop. So thanks for giving me so much time, Francisco. Man, I
no,
really appreciate it.
no problem, no problem.
My wife's family's actually down where you are. They live in Edinburgh.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I don't even know about these. I say South Texas, and they're like San Antonio. I'm like, no, no, South Texas.